Imagine being born with everything: royal blood, a brilliant mind, a prestigious law degree from Cornell, and the destiny to become the first queen in your nation's modern history. Then imagine collapsing in a field while training your dogs on an ordinary December afternoon, and never waking up again. No warning, no goodbye, just darkness. For 3.5 years, Princess Bajrakitiabha, Thailand's brightest star, the woman an entire nation of 70 million people had pinned their hopes on, lay motionless in a hospital bed, kept alive by machines. And on June 11th, 2026, at just 47 years old, her heart finally stopped. She never got to become queen. She never got to marry. She never got to see the world she had spent her entire life trying to make better. But here's what makes this story even more heartbreaking. Her death didn't just end one remarkable life. It may have ended the future of one of the world's wealthiest and most powerful monarchies. This is the tragic fate of Princess Bajrakitiabha, and this is everything that really happened. Let's uncover the truth, only on Empire Elegance. The princess. The world didn't know Bajrakitiabha was born in December 1978, the eldest daughter of King Maha Vajiralongkorn, also known as Rama X, and his first wife, who was also his cousin on the maternal side. Pure royal blood. A perfect lineage. From the very beginning, the weight of an entire dynasty rested on her small shoulders. The people called her simply Princess Bajra. But the fairy tale image of a royal family crumbled quickly. Her father became infatuated with a young actress, abandoned her mother, and cycled through wives one after another. Bajra's childhood was a study in contrasts: the grandeur of the grand palace on one side, the chaos of her father's endless personal scandals on the other. A broken home could have broken her. It didn't. Instead, Bajra made a decision. She would forge her own identity, one built not on her father's title, but on her own merit. She excelled in school, then crossed the world to earn a doctoral degree in law from Cornell University in the United States. Her classmates had no idea who she really was. They simply called the warm, unassuming student Princess Patty. It was during her student years that Bajrakitiabha discovered her defining mission. In 2001, she personally walked inside a Thai women's prison. What she found there left her shaken to her core. Pregnant women, young mothers, sleeping on bare floors, treated not as human beings, but as forgotten problems. Most people would have looked away. Bajra rolled up her sleeves. In 2006, she launched a sweeping nationwide initiative called Kamlangjai, meaning inspiration, to reform the conditions of women in Thai prisons. And 4 years later, her relentless work reached the global stage. The United Nations adopted its first-ever international standards for the treatment of women prisoners. That landmark document was officially named in her honor, the Bangkok Rules. To this day, the Bangkok Rules continue to protect and improve the lives of thousands of women in prisons across the world. That is a legacy most people could only dream of. And yet, behind all this achievement, one question lingered. Was she ever truly happy? The answer is one of the saddest parts of this entire story. Princess Bajrakitiabha never married. She never had children. Not because no one wanted her, but because of an iron rule of the Thai royal court. If a princess marries a commoner, she loses her titles and her right to the throne. Forever, Bajra made her choice. She sacrificed her personal happiness for two things: caring for her aging, ailing mother, and her duty to her nation. She gave everything to a kingdom that needed her. Everything except the one life she might have wanted for herself. And why did her country need her so desperately? Why was a woman, in a monarchy that had always passed its crown through the male line, being quietly prepared to become the next ruler? The answer lies buried deep in the dark secrets of the royal court. Bajrakitiabha had 4 half-brothers. All 4 were stripped of their royal titles, disgraced, and exiled to the United States. The reasons were never fully explained to the public, and in Thailand, asking too many questions about the royal family can land you in prison for up to 15 years per offense under the country's notoriously strict lèse-majesté laws. The king was left with only one officially recognized male heir, Prince Dipankarn. But for years, persistent whispers have circulated about the young prince's health, rumors of serious developmental challenges, of autism, of a young man who rarely appears in public, struggles to interact with others, and, by many accounts, is simply not prepared to govern a nation of 70 million people. None of this was ever written about in the Thai press. It was spoken only in whispers, behind closed doors, at great personal risk. And so the entire country turned its eyes, and its hopes, to Bajra. A constitutional amendment dating back to 1974 already permitted a woman to ascend to the Thai throne. All the king had to do was sign a single decree. All Bajra had to do was stay alive. But fate had other plans. The day everything changed, December 2022. The princess is 44 years old, physically fit and radiant with energy. She arrives at a national park in Nakhon Ratchasima province, not for any official function, but for something she loves, training her dogs for a military championship. Loud barking, fresh air, the sound of paws on grass. And then, darkness. The princess collapses. Her security detail rushes to her in panic. A helicopter immediately airlifts her to the best hospital in Bangkok. She never opened her eyes again. Doctors later revealed the full, devastating truth. Bajrakitiabha had been struck by an aggressive mycoplasma infection, bacteria that caused severe inflammation of her heart. Combined with critically low blood pressure and dangerous abnormalities in her blood clotting, her body was pushed to the very edge of survival. And during those critical minutes on the ground, her brain had been deprived of oxygen for too long. For 3.5 agonizing years, the woman who was supposed to be Thailand's first queen lay in a coma, sustained by machines, in a room at King Chulalongkorn Memorial Hospital. A grieving nation lit candles and prayed. Doctors quietly understood the truth they could not say publicly. The damage was too severe. Recovery was not coming. A dynasty on the edge. While Bajra lay unconscious, the tragedies kept coming. In October 2025, 93-year-old Queen Sirikit, Bajra's grandmother and the last living symbol of the dynasty's golden era, passed away. She had been a towering figure, a diplomat of extraordinary skill, the woman who turned Thai silk into a national treasure, a living icon for an older generation that still believed in the monarchy's strength and permanence. She was diagnosed with a bloodstream infection just 1 week before her death. The loss shook the royal court to its foundation. And then, 6 months later, came the moment everyone had feared most. In May 2026, Bajrakitiabha's condition began to deteriorate rapidly. New bacteria attacked her already exhausted body. Severe intestinal inflammation developed, progressing into a deadly abdominal infection. One by one, her internal organs began to fail. The most advanced medicine in the world proved powerless. On June 11, 2026, the heart of the 47-year-old princess stopped beating. The Royal Household Bureau issued an official statement of mourning. Thailand plunged into national grief. At the Grand Palace, preparations began for a grand and somber state funeral. It was not just a princess who had died. It was the nation's last hope. What comes next, and why it matters. Bajrakitiabha's death has left the Thai monarchy. Only one other stands. Her younger half-sister, Princess Sirivanavari. But she is worlds away from the political arena. A successful fashion designer who produces clothing under her own brand and prefers runways in Paris to affairs of state, she has shown no interest in, and little preparation for, the demands of the throne. Meanwhile, One of the king's exiled sons quietly returned to Bangkok in the months after Bajra fell into her coma. He began giving interviews, dropping thinly veiled hints about his claim to the throne. But the palace never restored his title. The door, for now, remains closed, and Thailand waits, silently, carefully, afraid to ask the question that everyone is thinking, a truth that outlasts royalty. This is the story of a woman who had everything the world tells us to want: royal blood, prestigious education, wealth, purpose, and power within reach. A woman who dedicated her life not to herself, but to the forgotten and the vulnerable. A woman who gave up love and family for the sake of duty. And in the end, none of it protected her. Princess Bajra Kityaba's story is a reminder that disease respects no crown, that fate bows to no title, that no amount of wealth, power, or pure royal blood can buy a person the one thing that matters most: more time. She never became queen, but she changed the world anyway. Rest in peace, Princess Bajra. If you found this story powerful, please like and subscribe to Empire Elegance and hit the notification bell for more stories about the lives and choices of the world's most influential figures. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one.